Next time can always get a little messy. Ha 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 ha! Evening, folks, and welcome to the Horror Corner. And this week we have the ultimate battle of the horror icons. And that is Freddy versus Jason. That's right, in one corner you have the masked madman Jason Voorhees from the Friday the 13th franchise. In the other corner, you have Freddy Krueger, the maniac from the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise. This film is fun as hell, folks, and both characters are equally represented and well represented, in my opinion. So we begin the film with Freddy Krueger talking about his past as a serial killer when he terrorized young children and murdered them. And the parents tracked him down and set him on fire. And when he came back and terrorized teenagers in their dreams. He became a dream demon, if you will. And when the children died in their dreams, they died for real. But what happened is, once the teenagers finally took down the madman, Freddy Krueger, the town of Springwood all got together and decided they're going to completely erase the memory of Freddy Krueger. And anything related to him, they won't speak his name or anything. And any teenagers that were terrorized by Freddy were sent off to sanitariums where they were given the drug called Hypnosil. Nice little homage to Part 3 there, Nightmare on Elm Street 3, Dream Warriors. And the drug Hypnosil makes the children actually forget their dreams. They don't remember their dreams. So if the children don't remember their dreams, then Freddy has no power. And he's not able to scare all the teenagers anymore because he has no power. None of the children remember any of their dreams. So that's when Freddy enlists the help of Jason Voorhees. He raises Jason from the dead in the disguise of his mother, Pamela Voorhees. You know, he wears the sweater and everything. And he actually appears as the vision of Pamela Voorhees to reel Jason in and get his attention. And I thought that was a really cool way to bring the story together. And so this movie was in developmental hell for about 10 years, where you had the two motion picture companies, Paramount, which owned the Friday the 13th franchise, and New Line Cinema, which owned the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise, and they couldn't agree on anything. They couldn't agree on a way to bring these two villains to the big screen. They couldn't agree on a script. There were several drafts created, but none of them really stuck. And they did try and get Wes Craven involved. They tried to get Sean Cunningham involved, and none of them could really work. None of them could really agree on anything. But they did finally come up with a script, and what happened is later on, New Line acquired the rights to the Friday the 13th franchise, so now they're both in the same motion picture company, so it was no-brainer to bring these two legends together finally. And I think they came up with a really cool concept for the script. And I really enjoyed the way they connected the two characters. I think it does justice to both characters and both franchises and pays great homage to both. Originally they were going to have Kane Hodder, who appeared as Jason in the past few Friday 13th films, like Jason Goes to Hell and The New Blood and Jason X, but New Line didn't really want to be associated with those films anymore because they weren't well received and they didn't really do so well at the box office either. So they wanted to kind of distance themselves from that. And Kane Hodder does kind of represent those films. So they wanted to go a different route, and they used Ken Kirzinger as Jason, who was a stuntman who actually did work on one of the Friday the 13th films, ironically. But I think he does a fine job. I'm not one of these people that, is solely has his heart set on Kane Hodder and no one else can play him. I think everyone that played Jason did a good job, so I didn't really see where Kane Hodder was so much better than the others. But that's no knock against him, and he did a fine job as well. I just didn't think, oh, nobody else can play him, you know. But Freddy Krueger, on the other hand, it was proven by the recent remake of Nightmare on Elm Street that no one else really can play Freddy Krueger. And I think originally in Part 2, Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2, they were going to use somebody else, but they found out that it's not just about the makeup, it's about the actor, Robert Englund. He's the one that brings that character to life. And so thank God they got him to return in this film, and he does another great performance. He's got all kinds of classic one-liners. Like, hey asshole, up here! A lot of great classic Freddy one-liners. I love it. So I really enjoy Robert Englund's performance in this film. There's also a lot of scantily clad ladies running around. I think some of the actresses were picked for their cup size and not their acting ability, where they seem to have huge racks. And I guess that's kind of keeping in with the history of Friday the 13th and Nightmare on Elm Street. There's a lot of gratuitous nudity and lots of over-the-top violence and blood and guts. And there's plenty of great gory scenes for any gore hound out there to enjoy. And a couple of the downsides I'll talk about is there's a lot of CGI in the film, which I feel takes away from the power of it. It's very much of its time. At that time in the early 2000s, any movie that has any action in it pretty much bit off the coattails of the Matrix series. And with that wire fighting technique and those slow-mo martial arts shots. There's even a scene where Freddy rises from the lake and he's doing this like kung fu stance. It's kind of hilarious. But some of the CGI definitely doesn't hold up today. It looks kind of cheap when you look back at it now. There's one scene where Freddy, one of the kids is dreaming and Freddy shows up like as a slug or a caterpillar or something, and it looks really cheap looking. It's like laughable. You even see one of the characters is like taken definitely from the Jay and Silent Bob characters from the Kevin Smith movies. One character is very Jason Mewes-like with the hat, and he's a stoner. He always wants to smoke weed all the time. But some things I really enjoy are the dreams. Some of the dream sequences are really well done, and even a couple of them are actually pretty scary. Like we see one girl turn around, she's got no eyes, and she's talking, and you see this group of patients in the hospital rise up, and they're all like whispering and pointing. Some pretty creepy scenes there when they do the Freddy and dream sequences. I like that. And also Jason is definitely looks great, and both characters are really well represented, and they look great, and the movie looks great. It's got a great dark tone to it. And Jason's just classic with the hockey mask. You even sees he's got some of his hair back in this one. But you see he's all decrepit and his head is severely deformed, you know. Classic style Jason. He's got his machete, his tool of the trade, and it's used to great effect. And I really enjoy the scene where he's in the cornfields and he's about to bust in on this rave the kids are having. And one of the kids lights him on fire, and he just doesn't even faze him. He's just walking through the cornfields, hacking up dudes left and right. And you see the blood splattering everywhere like a Quentin Tarantino movie, like Kill Bill or something. So some of the practical effects they do use work very effectively. You see the blood splurting everywhere. This definitely is quite bloody, especially when the two face off towards the end. And it's an epic clash of huge proportions. And it's a whole lot of fun. And you can see a lot of martial arts style going on there too, especially with Freddy doing some mad roundhouse kicks, and it's so much fun, and it's really exciting, and it's a lot of fun. Um, but at a couple points it gets a little corny, like when you see Jason flying, bouncing off the walls like a pinball machine. It's a little over the top at times and a little corny in some of the scenes. And you definitely see, like I said, that wire fighting technique, and it doesn't always work. It looks a little awkward at times. But for the most part, it gets really bloody when you see Freddy get his arms chopped off, you know. He gets his own hand put through him with his own glove popping out through his heart. It's pretty sick. And Jason gets real messed up too. I like one scene where Freddy uses Jason's fears against him, his fear of water. And some people think, oh, that doesn't really fall in line with the other films, because at sometimes he did swim in the water, and there are some scenes in the Friday 13 franchise when you see Jason rise from the lake and stuff. But the way I see it is, it's more him playing with the fears of when Jason drowned as a young child, when he went to Camp Crystal Lake and was bullied by the kids, and they weren't paying any attention. They were off making love while that young boy drowned. Counselors weren't paying any attention to him, as Pamela Voorhees says. And they do show a little cool scene of that too, which I really enjoyed, is little flashbacks to Jason's childhood, when the bullies are making fun of him and messing with him, you know, making fun of the way he looks because his head's kind of like deformed, and tossing him in the lake. You see a scene of Jason getting tossed into the Camp Crystal Lake. And so I really like how Freddy used that against him in their battle. So that was really cool. But overall, it's just a really fun film. It's not something to take too serious. It's very lighthearted. It's not like extremely dark, like say the original Friday 13th or the original Nightmare on Elm Street. It's just more fun, and there's some great action and over-the-top special effects. It's just a lot of fun, and if you take it lightly, then you'll have a good time. It's a great popcorn movie, if you will. So run and get Freddy versus Jason. I give it 2 thumbs up, or 2 devil horns up, I should say. So run and get Freddy versus Jason, directed by Ronny Yu. And thank you for joining me, Sean Patrick Erschen, in the Horror Corner. Tune in and stay scared.